there are a few key like barriers that we've learned is challenging. And just we'll mention these three ones, and then we will head you out to actually start hacking on your own AI adoption or your own change initiatives. But one thing that we noticed is that when driving change or working with different types of change initiatives, you often know what needs to shift, but you're not really sure about how to make that shift happen. What needs to happen? And we got lots of insight from Johannes now. What needs to happen for AI adoption to work? But so when we don't know, we usually go to what we've always done, which often is to just plan an announcement and develop an e-learning, and then we hope that is enough and that works, which often it doesn't. Another thing that we've learned that is a challenge when driving change or preparing for change is that when we have launched a change, so we've done the announcement, developed the e-learning, put it out there, or even if we have done more extensive kind of change journeys, we don't really know if it's landing. We launch it and then we hope it works. And if it doesn't, we normally find it out a bit too late, and then we wonder why nothing changed. And the third one being, so we have a plan in OneDoc, and we have updates in a PowerPoint presentation. The last learnings that we gathered from the change initiative, that is in the transcripts nowadays, but in notes somewhere. And everything is scattered and nothing is really connected, and there is no one place to actually collaborate. And these are some of the 4 challenges that we have further than developed Shiftic for. So now, Maria, you will share a short demo of Shiftic, so you get a understanding of how it works before you get started working on it on your own.
Yes. So those of you in here, which I know we have a whole bunch that are familiar to Tilda, you can see that it looks very different now. So we really wanted to meet this scattered feeling with creating everything in one place and giving you a clear overview of what's happening. So when you log into Shiftic, this is what you will be met with. So up here, you'll have some example shifts, previously called projects. And in the bottom here, we have all of my existing shifts that I am working on. And you can see that some of them are owned by me and others are created of my colleagues. So Shiftic is also that place for collaborating and bringing everything into that one place. So I want to show you 2 projects, 2 shifts that we have created. And let's start with this one. So when you enter into a shift, into a project in Tilda, this is what you are met with. In Shiftic, sorry. On the right, you still have Tilda. She survives as our colleague, the chat that we can have conversations with. Now, this plan here has been developed by me and Tilda. So this is one of those examples that Johannes mentioned. We give ChatGPT to our teams, to our coworkers. We have created a sort of current state here together with Tilda. She's guided us to fill out this, and we can share documents and she will sort of help us understand what is the current state, what is the desired state, what's the effect goal, the theory of change, what are the barriers to the behaviors, the enablers, and what are the constraints and conditions. So when we've created this brief together with Tilda, we can go to our plan overview. We can also find that here at the top. And you can see here that in this case, Tilda wasn't part of creating this amazing plan. I gave her very sort of set instructions that we only have this amount of time to give, and it needs to be self-driven and optional. So we have e-learnings here. This is what we can work with. And we see this a lot in our organizations that we work with. And Tilda then have together together with RISE created this behavior shift score that you can see at the top here. So that's the likelihood of this shift actually leading to a behavior change. And you can see that the score here is very low, because and that means that this huge investment that we're making is actually not leading to anything. And what we can do here together with Tilda and Shiftic is to help improve this score. And while she's thinking about that, she's taking in everything that she knows about the organization, everything she knows about the research on behavior change, and she's creating suggestions on how can we make this plan a bit better. We still have the same limitations with the amount of time that we can spend, etc. But she's doing small things here that will create a better likelihood of it actually leading to behavior change. So while she's thinking about that, I'm going to go move into another project. And yeah, you can see that was a 20 increase of the suggestions of other interactions and new activities that we can add to increase the likelihood of this. But I'm going to park this because, of course, we want to look at also a project that is better with that is created together with the with Johannes, based on those sort of 5 things that are important for us to have. So if we look at this project instead, which is a longer project. I have the brief here that I've developed in collaboration with Tilda. And here we have a clearly sort of announcement from the leadership, and we have the ingredients that we needed. And together with Tilda, we have created a plan then. So this is the list of activities that we've come up with in order to make this behavior change stick. So you can see now we have a great behavior shift score, and that sort of guesswork that Bella mentioned before is not so much guessing anymore. We know that this has a very high potential to lead to behavior change. And here I can go into these specific activities. So if we look at this leadership alignment session that we have developed together with Tilda, we can see what's going to happen here. We have an objective, we have key topics, and we have Tilda has helped us make really clear what is it that we're looking for to see if this is actually having an impact. And in this case, the impact is that leaders name concrete AI outcomes in meetings. And we also have the sort of details of this session. What's going to happen here? Tilda has also helped me create content related to this. So in this case, we have a one-pager that defines our AI outcome goals. And I can go in and I can change this, but I can also have conversations with Tilda around this. So we can go really deep, we can create lots of content, we can get help with Tilda, from Tilda, to create PowerPoint templates or material. We can create things that we can export into Articulate Rise or Mentimeter, for example. One of those barriers that Bella mentioned was that we don't get the signals. We don't know if things are actually working. So in this case, we have a project where we had a leadership alignment session in the beginning. And I have actually inputted impact on this session. I have given Tilda the transcript from this session, and that has led to her suggesting other things on these upcoming activities. And we call this the impact loop. And I'm going to show you one of these sort of live. So what has happened now in this project is that we've had the alignment sessions, and then we've had this clinics with defining outcomes with the pilot teams. And then we've gathered the pilot team leaders, and we're going to have a follow-up. So I'm going to click delivered. This little thing shifts to now, and I can hear Tilda will ask me how it went. I've pre-cooked this a little bit. So here are my observations. This was the most important 30 minutes of the project. And actually, the pilot team leaders came here understanding that they have an underlying problem that they hadn't quite named yet. I can also upload materials here. So I can share with Tilda the transcript from the meeting. I can share the one-pagers, and Tilda will use that and analyze it, and based on that, give me a suggestion on what's going to happen next. So I'm adding the transcript from this meeting with the follow-up and pilot leads. So the value here is that before it was just my observations, right? And now Tilda can support looking for, she's grounding herself in the evidence, in the brief, in where we're going. She's grounding herself in what are the impact signs that we're looking for. And she can share with us what are the learnings that she's seeing here in what we're actually missing. So I can go ahead and click what's needed next. So Tilda is then going to say, okay, let's zoom out. Let's look at the rest of the plan that we have sort of penciled in, and how do we need to adapt that to actually create this behavior shift that we wanted to see. So what's next for us is a 6-week pilot sprint, and she's suggesting some adaptations to that. I'm just going to go ahead and apply them all for the sake of moving us forward. And that also then changed the impact and increased the impact of this sprint. Right. So now we have sort of antidotes to those barriers, to the scatteredness, to be able to create everything in one place, to share it. You can invite your colleagues to your projects. We have the no signal barrier. You can really meet that, because here is the place to really analyze all the signals, the ones that I'm observing, but also the ones that we can see from the data, from the material that was presented, or from the transcripts, or whatever it might be, the artifacts that we have been creating. And the guesswork, we have the behavior shift score that we can really use as a sort of, are we heading in the right direction? Do we give the right conditions for this to actually lead to behavior change?